You'd use invisibility to rob a bank, or the girls' locker room. Maybe go to the bedroom of your crush. I would too. Well, not your crush, but my own, which is your mom.
Got it!
Sorry for my momentary lapse of composure. Sadly, none of it would work. The second you turn invisible, your stained underpants are still visible, as well as the contents of your stomach and bowels. Oh, and you're suddenly completely blind. That's the version of this power the movie refuses to show you, and it's only the start of it. There's also a way to solve it, which we'll get to. First, the real problem. Every superhero movie that's tried invisibility has had to answer the same question, and almost none of them gave the same answer. Sue Storm wears a suit Reed Richards built her out of something called unstable molecules, which is a fancy way of saying we needed her clothes to disappear with her, so we made up a fabric. Violet from The Incredibles works the same way. Edna Mode designed her super suit specifically because Violet's regular clothes don't go invisible. Step out of the suit and she's a vanishing teenager in very visible jeans. The first Hollow Man went the other way and committed. Sebastian Cain is just naked. The 2020 Invisible Man cheated too. Adrian Griffin built a tech suit covered in micro cameras and projectors. 4 films, 4 different solves. Hollow Man is the only one that doesn't lie about it. Maybe Invisible Man didn't either. But that's not even the biggest problem. The biggest problem is the place where we have to give credit where credit is due. Because Science walked through this years ago already, so go watch his breakdown if you want the full physics. But physics is hard and I'm stupid, so the short version is, to make yourself invisible, you have to redirect photons around your body so they don't hit anyone's eyes. But photons hitting eyes is also the only reason anything can see. Redirect them all around you and none of them are hitting your eyes either. You're blind. Sue Storm sees perfectly fine across every Fantastic Four film. Violet sees fine. Hollow Man tried to address this with a line about Sebastian seeing through his eyelids, which is a sentence designed for the audience to nod and move on. Hey, hold up. Is that what I'm trying to do every bit? Well, anyways, continuing. If light can pass through his eyelids, the audience should be able to see his eyeballs. They can't. The rule applies to everyone except the character on screen. After Sue goes invisible, she walks through halls without hitting walls. She lines up shots, she catches reactions on other people's faces, she dodges in fight scenes. None of this works without eyes. The film just hopes you don't ask. Even if you fix the clothes and the eyes, the world still finds you. Rain, snow, Axe Africa you got for Christmas that one time that you kinda didn't like but it smelled kinda good. Anything in the air that lands on something invisible just paints the shape of it. Hollow Man actually plays with this. They spray Sebastian with water to see him. The film knows the rules even if Sue Storm doesn't. Predator does it too. The original 1987 film has Arnold figuring out the cloak when near fire. I think that's how he figured it out. Maybe it was the rain. I don't exactly remember. The world doesn't care that you solved the photon problem. Throw a bag of flour into the room and you'll find any invisible person inside it. A spider web alone could give you away. You still leave footprints on everything you walk on because the ground doesn't care that you've gone transparent. Sherlock Holmes solves an invisible person in 15 minutes. Then there's everything inside you. The white monster you just drank is still poison until you absorb it. The Feastables bar in your stomach is still chocolate until you digest it. Everything in your veins and your gut and your bloodstream sits there as visible as it was a second ago, none of it knowing it's supposed to vanish too. Okay, I'm over-exaggerating here, but pure classic invisibility means an audience would see a floating Feastables bar slowly disappearing into your bloodstream over the next 4 hours. And there's everything coming out of you too. Your breath and cold air, the sweat in your skin, the sneeze you can't hold back, the fart you definitely thought no one would notice. Wait, would those even be visible? I don't know. No movie acknowledges any of this, probably because it's hard to make Sue Storm cool when she's a floating cheeseburger who just sneezed. And after all of that, you're still completely visible to a thermal camera, which because science has also pointed out before. And the man is right! Every human radiates heat constantly. The average body throws off about 100 joules of it every second. And any infrared sensor built in the last 40 years will pick it up. Modern banks, modern stores, modern apartment buildings, modern car garages, modern locker rooms, hopefully not those, but I'll soon report back if they do. And all of them have thermal in some form. The 1933 Invisible Man got to run around in England that hadn't invented this technology yet. Sue Storm in 2026 walks into a vault and shows up like a flare. Has any superhero movie addressed this? I don't know. Let me know. The hero just sneaks past the cameras and we're supposed to nod Mr. Incredible could just find Violet in a heartbeat with a phone. The cheapest baby monitor sees heat now. The power is being filmed like it's 1933 and the audience is being asked to play along. And if you somehow fixed every single one of these problems, get the clothes right, kept your eyes seeing, kept the world off your body, beat the thermal cameras, you'd still have a power that can't get any better than it already is. But there remains an easy fix. Trust me, we'll get there. First, you might be wondering, why can't the power get any better than it already is? Well, compare it to other powers. Strength gets stronger, speed gets faster, heat vision gets hotter and further. I guess magic gets weirder, even rage levels up. Hulk in the first Avengers movie is angry. Hulk in Endgame is solving multiverse equations in his living room. Thor goes from swinging a hammer in his first film to summoning a star-forged axe to the Bifrost. Doctor Strange spends 3 films learning bigger spells until by Multiverse of Madness he's controlling corpses and time itself. Every other superpower has a ceiling above it for the hero to climb across 3 movies, allowing both the power and the character to evolve with it. Invisibility doesn't. Yar or yarn't. Unless you have a good argument in the comments against it, because I certainly don't. There's no advanced invisibility setting that unlocks when the stakes get bigger. The first time the audience sees you do it is also the last time it gets even cooler. And the movies know. Take the 2 big screen heroes who actually have invisibility. Both of them also have force fields, so how do they approach any combat situation? Well, Violet in the first Incredibles fights the Omnidroid. The iconic move is the force field bubble that protects her family from the giant robot. She does go invisible to sneak the remote control out of the Omnidroid's hand, which is the one moment in the movie where the invisibility actually does combat work. Then she's visible again. In Incredibles 2, she fights Void and beats her with force fields. The force field is the power that ends fights. Invisibility is the power that gets her to the start of one. And then there's Sue Storm. In the 2005 bridge sequence where the team saves a crowd of people from falling, she uses a force field. In Rise of the Silver Surfer, she throws a force field at Dr. Doom's spear, which doesn't work, but the choice is still telling. Across the entire Fantastic Four catalog, the move that does the actual hero work in the actual fight is the force field. Invisibility is the sneak. Force field is the finish. Invisibility just isn't that interesting in fights. The studio figured this out a long time ago. Wonder Woman learns the Themysciran technique to cloak the invisible jet in 1984, but she doesn't turn herself invisible and the move doesn't come back. Deadpool 2 has Vanisher on X-Force, but the joke is you only see him when he splatters on a power line during his death gag. So why is that, and how do you deal with it the right way? Well, it's all about what the audience walks out of the theater with. This will be personal preference, but a good final act is a fight. Not a chase, not Tony Stark sitting Thanos down for couples therapy, not Doctor Strange setting the snap with a strongly worded email, not Wolverine and Magneto bonding over their shared trauma at a journaling workshop. A fight! The hero and the villain end up in the same room and one of them has to win it on screen, punching each other or something like that. That is the basic shape of some good old comics. The third act pays off with the confrontation, and it doesn't matter what the genre dresses itself up to be: capes, mech suits, magic robes, alien armor, big titty goth girlfriends. The third act always lands the same way: 2 people in a room throwing whatever they've got until one of them stops moving. Invisibility would not fit there, like at all. Like, imagine the power of not being in the room. Wow, exciting. The power of avoiding the fight entirely. Spy movies love this power. Heist movies love this power. Horror movies absolutely love it. Crime movies will. Actually, I don't watch those. I have no freaking idea. Superhero movies need the opposite. That's why writers keep stapling other powers like force fields onto invisible characters. If you give a hero only the power to avoid, you give the audience a third act with nothing to watch. The hero just successfully isn't there. Roll credits. But there are the films that did commit. The ones where invisibility is the whole power and there's no force field bolted on for the climax. We've even talked about them before and made fun of them. Okay, just let me show you. Sebastian Cain in Hollow Man starts as a scientist. The minute he's invisible, he uses it to spy on his neighbor, then break into her apartment, then assault her, grab titties, then murder his way through his own team. By the end, he's the threat the audience is rooting against. Adrian Griffin in the 2020 Invisible Man uses the power to torment his ex-girlfriend, as they all do, to gaslight her, to attack her sister, to frame her for Mordur. Jeez, they really did show invisibility in a way a normally functioning adult man would use it. Well, all these films end in the same place anyway. Invisibility, taken on its own, is the power of being where you shouldn't be and watching what you shouldn't see. This is why invisibility falls flat in action-packed sequences. The genre needs a hero who shows up and hits the villain hard enough to end the movie. The power of invisibility is the power of not showing up. The two don't fit. Now, there is one film that figured out a third way. The way that actually works. And it's a film you've already seen. The film is The Incredibles. Yeah, the same one I just used to make every other point. But this will be an entirely new point, so this is different, I think. Brad Bird, when he designed Violet, said the invisibility was supposed to be a metaphor for teenage shyness. What? Okay. The desire to disappear when someone is looking at you. The defensive wall you put up when you're convinced people are watching and judging you. Just look at what it does when you watch the opening dinner scene. Dash is teasing her about Tony, the boy she likes at school, because teenage girls like teenage boys in school, it's normal. She's at the table, but her hair is falling over half her face. She's kinda there, she's kinda not. Or the scene just before that where her parents are talking to each other from across her. Dash is talking over her, and she's somewhere underneath the hair hoping nobody asks her anything. The power isn't even active, and she's already gone. That's invisibility. The power and the body language are doing the same job. Watch what happens at school whenever Tony looks her way. She vanishes, but there's no fight or threat to escape. A boy just looked at her, and she's 12, which means it's unbearable. The power activates on social exposure exposure. The same way every shy teenager freezes when they get noticed. Now watch the end. Violet at Dash's track meet. The same hair that was hiding her face for the whole movie is pushed behind her ear now. So when Tony walks up to her and tries asking her out, she finishes the sentence for him and decides they are going to the movies. She's buying the popcorn. What a transformation! She let herself be seen. She doesn't need to disappear anymore. The power, in a way, grew because the character did. That's the only film that actually used invisibility for what invisibility actually is. Some sort of storytelling device for emotional growth. A way of describing what it feels like to want the room to stop looking at you. The Incredibles is the one superhero movies I can name that gave the power a job that isn't pretending to be something else. Every other film treats invisibility like a tool. Brad Bird treated it like a symptom. Still, Violet has force fields. Yes, the film still bolts on a combat power for fight scenes, but invisibility itself gets to do something honest. The perfect combination between emotional and physical. And invisibility isn't even the worst one. There's a power on almost every superhero poster. The one audiences think defines the genre. You can see it on screen right now. See the problem with it? No? Well, click here to find out.